Hello, Simon Roza here from Exceptional Learners and EB. Better late than never. I've got to share with you this shirt. Hang on, EB, just sit there for a bit. Oh, check my cup of tea. Don't you just love this? I feel, I'm not showing off my stomach. I feel as bright as a bright blue sky. God, I loved that. I loved it so much that I did that, I think, with a little kindergarten class. And I loved it so much, so much that I bought the shirt off him from his parents. But bought the picture off him. And I printed it off and put it on a t-shirt. I thought it was an absolute ripper. Yes, I know you're jealous of it. Well, welcome. Just wanted to make sure you could hear me better. Can you hear me okay, Michelle? Is that better when I do that? Oh, okay, maybe not. Well, we'll see. We'll keep on going anyway. So all this... Oh, hello! So all of this October is ADHD Awareness Month. And EB and I have been smashing some myths and having a chat about the strengths and the challenges of being an ADHDer. Now, I had a wonderful question from a great little friend in Panania, and I hope I'm going to answer her question today. That was lovely, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. It actually provided us with a lot of food for thought. And anyway, so thank you so much. The question, and there were a number of questions, was all about siblings and brothers. You know, and brothers and sisters can be all so tricky. They really can. So I might talk about a few different ideas that I've come across and a few different situations. But I'm going to talk to this young lady in Panania who has a brother who has ADHD. And, well, I know sometimes it can be really tiring. But, you know, this is something I usually tell the parents too, that when the kids and your brother gets home of an afternoon, he probably is going to be a bit more over the top than he usually is, because when he's with you and he's home, he actually feels really safe. That's his safe place. And that's when he kind of tends to let loose, I suspect. I'm not too sure exactly, but that's when people kind of let down their guard, because it's pretty hard to sit up straight all day and do the right thing all day, and then as soon as you get home, wow, it can be a real meltdown, and that's a really tough time for you. I suppose it comes down to something I used to say in class as well, and I think it's really important. You know, it's not about all getting the same thing. I mean, we don't get teeth at the same time. We don't walk at the same time. We don't, get grey hair at the same time. It all happens when it's meant to. And we're different. And we need different things at different times. So fairness to me is not about getting the same thing at the same time. Fairness to me is getting what you need to succeed, and when you need it as well. So I suppose we're talking about two things. One, it may seem really unfair that he is giving you a hard time straight away, and it may seem that your parents are not being seen to do anything about it. But that doesn't mean that something's not being done about it. You have to take a bit of a leap of faith in your parents, because they'll pick a time that's probably better to talk about his behaviour. Because often I'd say, look, you really can't talk about the behaviour to somebody unless the behaviour and the emotion has left the situation. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what your parents are doing. They're picking their time and their place. And they may not involve you about it, and you may not know. And often that used to happen in school too, and in class. You might see someone play up, but you don't know whether I've actually done something about it or not. You have to take a leap of faith in your teacher, and in this case, take a leap of faith in your parents. You know, something else I'd like to add, because I just loved your question too, is I work with a lot of older kids as well. And, you know, siblings, brothers and sisters, and I know that deep down they feel terrible for what they do. And they don't mean to, and they want you to know in their heart of hearts that they really are upset about, you know, upsetting you. And it may not seem that way. And it may seem like, you know, they're giving you a hard time and your parents aren't doing anything about it. I get that. I understand it. But I just want you to know that their heart, when they do something like that, it crumples a little bit. And they feel really bad about it themselves. That they don't want to do it. And you see, I mentioned the older because I've seen that with older siblings, when somebody else might give you a hard time, your brother, I think, is going to be the very first person to defend you. He'll have your back, no matter what. I've seen it in my own kids. My young boy in kindergarten had his big sister kissed by somebody, and he took on this third grader, no matter what. I suppose what I'm saying to you is that I think things will come around, and there'll be a time where, you know, it's going to work out for you. Because he'll remember these things and he'll want to make it up to you in time as well. So there's a bit about stepping back from the moment. I know it's going to be tough for you sometimes when he's right in your face and yet you've had a hard day at school too. And these are times when we need to step away from a situation and breathe. And if you know it's going to be tough and you're prepared, you can react with a plan rather than react to a situation and then do something that you regret as well. Trust in your parents that they do hear and they are doing something about it, and they do so appreciate the situation that you're in, and they really do. So there's that piece around trusting your parents, and there's also the piece around justice as well. It's not about all getting the same. It's about getting what you need to succeed, and when as well. But there's something else there about jealousy too that a few other people have brought up, and I knew it wasn't something you brought up, but I'm going to break away now and try and answer that whole piece around jealousy as well. Yeah. Poor EB. He's getting another earful, and I'm going to have a sip of this lovely coffee tea. Okay. I suppose this again is about not all getting the same thing, because we don't all get the same thing. But I know that siblings can be really jealous and say things like, oh, don't you love me? Or don't you love mine? Isn't mine as good? Well, no, it's different. It's completely different. And I love the things that you do, and I love the things that they do. And, you know, I think it's really important. I know we're really busy in our time-poor, kind of busy lives that we have. But once you get home and you've fed them and watered them and they've done their thing a little bit, and then life is getting back to normal, perhaps they've had that bounce back from their medication, or perhaps in the morning, you know what works best for you at your time. If the kids know they've got some regular time with you, or another caregiver in the house that is just their time, then they're going to be much more willing to go, oh, okay, I know that he's getting this time and he's getting all this attention, but I get to have that time with mum or dad just to myself later on. And if they know that they're going to have that time with you, you're going to find they're a lot more tolerant and understanding. And also, if they're annoyed about something, if you do this regularly, they'll know that this is an opportunity. This is their chance to have a voice and have a say. And they can build it into part of their reaction, reacting with a plan rather than just reacting. So if they know that they can have a chat with you later on, they'll go, I'm going to talk to Mum about that later on. I'm going to let her know how I feel about that. And then breathe and ignore the little brother. You know, you can always tell the little brother, you do have to sleep sometime. Actually, no, don't do that, because it's hard enough to get people to sleep. I'll pull that away. Don't go near sleep. Perhaps it was something I used to say to my kids. You have to go to sleep sometime, child. I probably deserve everything, everything I got. All right. So just a little bit, and I think we can go on. I think I started writing quite a piece about this earlier today, about what can we do about peers getting on with one another and the clashes that they have. Know that you're really important to them and they feel safe with you, and it will come back and they will stick up for you at some time. React with a plan of breathing, calming, and knowing that you'll be able to talk to your parents about that later. And if you build this up consistently, parents, I'm sure that you'll get the reaction that you're after as well. And don't forget to model those types of things and catch people doing the right thing at the right time too, because we know that's the best way to change behaviour, is not to stop a behaviour, not to punish a behaviour, but to encourage the good behaviour that you want to see. Catch them being good. That's the way to do it. Anyway, I've been going on. I hope I haven't rambled too much. Just before I do go, though, were there any other questions? I think I can see them right here, and I'm happy to answer some of those if you want to. I know it can be tough, and they do move out eventually. I suppose the other conversation, just as we finish up too, is that I do love having a whole family discussion about what it is to be ADHD and how the brain is wired differently and how it's still yet to grow. And I'm sure that you'll find there'll be times when you can remind them, hey, remember, they are a bit younger than they appear, and they're heading in the right direction. So yeah, knowing that they're 30% smaller or 3 or 4 years behind where you were might be something, might just get your older sibling to give the empathy that they need as well to just get through. Because I know the older siblings just sometimes they just don't want to let loose. But after a hard day, they also regret not being the patient kind of person they want to be with their little brother or little sister. I'll just give you a few more moments there. Pardon me. I hope that sound was better today for you as well. We'll be here again tomorrow and hopefully just about every other day. They won't all be live, but we'll get there. Now, there is probably a piece too around older siblings who think that their little brothers and little sisters are getting away with hell. You never let me get away with that. I really think that comes to an understanding, the neurological understanding of how they're different, and a whole conversation around the invisible disability, or the invisible thing going on inside their heads, and a whole discussion around fairness. And I think involving the older kids, going, okay, this is a problem, and this is where I really like the work of collaborative problem solving as well with Dr. Ross Green. If it is a problem, involve the older sibling in finding the solution. And when they have ownership, when they have that buy-in to that situation, then you'll find that they're going to be more committed to it as well. I often come across this situation where people are having problems with the siblings as well, and it's setting aside and establishing that communication and regular communication as well. it's not a bad thing either to actually talk about the purpose of a family. I mean, why is your family all together? Maybe, well, what is the purpose of it? To me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you should have these conversations with these kids. What are you all trying to achieve by being there together? I tend to think the purpose of a family is to help each other achieve all their dreams. And everyone has a role and some responsibility in making that happen as well. That's why we all have to take responsibility for unpacking the dishwasher or doing all those bits and pieces, because it's not all about them. It's about all of us at some time. All right, well, lovely to have you there. I hope I've been able to perhaps touch on or overcome or give you an opportunity to talk about or to have a discussion around fairness, about the neurology of the brain. If you want to learn more about that, you can always go to Dr. Russell Barclay, and be wary. He does talk about the deficit, but that's only because of the social model, It is just a different, and I think that's a wonderful celebration. But yeah, look at that 30% smaller brain mass at this stage and 20% less dopamines. That's why they can have that addictive behaviour. Have those conversations so everyone is on the same playing field and understanding. Look, and I've had these conversations with little tackers and kindergartens, and they get it. They really are a lot more resilient and understanding too. Upfront, open and honest, make them part of the solution. Lovely to see you. Post some more questions if you have some later. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Thanks for listening, EB. It's fallen asleep. I know it's a bit hard to tell. Cheers. Bye.